7 years ago, we began an adventure that has taken our family to places we never could have imagined. We've met some incredibly wonderful people, and we've been the recipients of some incredible acts of kindness. Some of those acts are from people sitting in this room. We've also met the dark side, which is insurance, and I'll address that later on in the presentation. But before that, I'd like to tell you who we are. Again, I'm Angela Sable. I'm mother to our daughter, Sarah, who completed our family 7 years ago. I'm a registered nurse, I'm a master tattoo artist, and I run a small business specializing in medical tattooing. I'm a board member with Ear Community and founder of 3 Facebook support groups with over 1,500 members. I'm a wife, mother, business owner, and most importantly, I'm an advocate. I also have 2 grown children, Lindsay and Dennis, who both have master's degrees and live abroad. And let me tell you, when they caught wind that we were going to adopt a deaf 7-year-old orphan on the other side of the planet, they thought we totally flipped and encouraged us to be like normal people going through a midlife crisis and just get a Corvette. But they're totally good with it now, and they love their little sis. My husband, Dennis, served 27 years in the Marine Corps, and he retired at the rank of colonel, and in December, we're going to celebrate our 35th wedding anniversary. Now, of course, the reason we're here is because of Sarah, who suffers bilateral microtia atresia and slight hemifacial microsomia. Bless you. She's also sporting a fabulous pair of 6-year-old Dr. Lewin's ears. Well, suffice it to say that Sarah fell from heaven into our laps because until I stumbled upon this face, I never even thought about adoption. Sarah was born in June of 2000 and spent her first 7 years unaided, moved in and out of orphanages and foster homes, and some of the conditions were good and some not so good. The good was that due to the loud atmosphere of the orphanage with kids screaming and yelling, Sarah developed speech. And since toys were few and far between, she taught herself to draw. The bad is that she was often bullied, belittled and mocked by her caregivers, and pulled by her little ears. She was also told the dogs bit her ears off. Fast forward 7 years of that existence to 2007, and in an orphanage in Chengdu, China, we met a frightened little deaf girl who was terrified that we would discover her little ears and choose someone else. Whenever we saw or had to show Sarah's ear deformity, we'd always smile and say beautiful. And interestingly enough, beautiful was Sarah's first English word. Fast forward another 7 years, and I introduce to you our confident, just turned 14-year-old National Honor Society student, Sarah. She wears Otacon's newest Ponto Plus processors on bilateral abutments. She uses the FM system in mainstream public school. She's a fluent Mandarin and English speaker. She plays the piano and the oboe in her middle school band. And she's also a finalist for Otacon USA's Most Inspiring Hearing Impaired Student of the Year Awards. So see me after and I'll tell you how to vote for her. Sarah?
Thank you for inviting me to the conference. My name is Sarah, and I would like to thank Dr. Kessa, my first doctor, and Dr. Lewin for my MedPort years. I would also like to thank Otacon Medical for my great hearing devices. I am going to 8th grade, and I really like school. My favorite subjects are math and science. I don't let my disabilities slow me down. I really like running 5 and 10K races and winning. You can do whatever you want, so don't let anyone tell you that you can't. I have good friends and nobody ever teases me. Sometimes people are curious and ask me what is on my head, and I say it's my hearing aids. And they say, oh, or cool. If anyone has any question, please ask me anytime during the conference. I hope everyone has a wonderful time here in California. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. So although many of you may be sorting through a host of emotions regarding your child's microtia and atresia, we were certain that with the proper medical care and hearing technology that Sarah could live a completely normal life, and we were right. We returned home to Virginia, and naturally we wanted to get the ball rolling involving Sarah's hearing, which I knew she had because she always rested her head against the source of sound. And here she is with her first bone conduction. That's how we knew she could hear in China. So off we went to UVA to meet Bradley Kesser. Dr. Kesser scheduled a CT scan and then took the time to consult with us. Sarah scored very low on the J scale, and Dr. Kesser went on to say that she was missing a stapes bone, and due to the course of the facial nerve, canalplasty would put her at significant risk for facial paralysis. Wow, not exactly what we were expecting to hear, and for a split second we were disappointed. The canalplasty wasn't an option, but Dr. Kesser assured us that through bone conduction, Sarah would have near normal hearing, and he sent us off for an audiogram. Well, after seeing Sarah's favorable reaction to bone conduction, we were really excited and wanted that device ASAP. So we purchased this Oticon bone conduction band out of pocket as TRICARE, which is the military's version of insurance, does not cover hearing devices or services for dependent children of military retirees, but we appealed anyway. With insurance appeals looming over hearing devices, we traveled back and forth over the next year and a half from Virginia to California to see Dr. Lewin, who, as you saw in the previous slide, gave her some awesome med-port ears. We took quite a few black eyes, and each time insurance rejected, we fought back, filing appeal after appeal. We used all the proper coding and exhausted the appeals process. We even visited Congressman Whitman's office in D.C. and filed a congressional appeal. They denied that too. Our military insurance is governed by laws, whereas non-military insurance is governed by policy. And it would take an act of Congress to change the TRICARE law, but with private insurance, you can and you should appeal any rejection of service. Many are denied initially, but when coded as durable medical equipment, prosthetic devices, I see success in our support groups the majority of time. Insurance is not a charity. It's unfortunate, but most really don't care about your child or mine. Whenever insurance denies a claim, a certain percentage of people go away and don't appeal. Insurance wins, the company makes money. Don't be one of those people. So what should you do? You should keep calm and never give up. There are other avenues. Early childhood programs for the hearing impaired, nonprofit organizations like Earicles, Ear Community, Ear to Ear, to name a few. They all differ in ways, but they all assist with either surgery or hearing devices. Keep in mind, there's always a way. You may not know it yet, but someone does. Search for information and support. Remember, you're not alone in your quest for information. I suggest that you join one of the Facebook support groups and get armed. There are many, and you can learn from others' experiences. Baja World is the first group I started, and that's mostly adults. The Kids Club was created because parents have their own challenges, and they were overtaking the adult group. Then, of course, the Bilateral Conductive Hearing Group, where we share our own unique challenges in dealing with bilateral loss. Support groups offer a treasure trove of information that has been gathered from multiple sources and filed on the group page, and you can see off to the right some of the things there. Here's a picture. Here's Jack and Sarah. They're here today. That's their baby picture. They were from the same orphanage in China. Between Jack and Sarah, they've helped 8 people in 4 countries by loaning out their old devices. Our motto is, if you have a spare, please share. And we have other acts of kindness in the works. Both Aaron Davis and Jana Nelson are donating their kids' hearing devices to children in the third world. My group members are truly amazing. We are families helping families. Let me share something about the woman on the right. She's from Canada, and she joined our group probably about 2 months ago, the bilateral group, and she wasn't even aware that there was a name for her bilateral microtia atresia, or that she could be aided. I sent her one of Sarah's old devices, and she cried hearing sounds for the first time. Another member was so moved by her reaction that she's loaning her a spare set of Ponto processors. Oticon Medical donated a band and is sending a rep to train her audiologist to program the devices. And that little miracle would have never happened outside of our group. So I encourage you to plant yourself and grow. Who knows, you might even meet someone in your own town. Other reasons for joining sport groups are we have a whole lot of cuteness going on. We talk about ways to wear a soft band. And how about elastic soft band and glasses? The first few months after you learn of your child's microtia, atresia, and hearing loss are going to be very emotional. Not only will you have to deal with the diagnosis, but you'll also have to make decisions with regards to reconstruction, hearing solutions, speech therapy, and what educational approach to choose. If you have little ones, I encourage you to contact your school district and early intervention program, which was mentioned earlier. Oftentimes, they even have bone conduction devices. As overwhelming as things seem now, your child's hearing loss will eventually fit in with everything else you're going to deal with as a parent. Adapting to your child's ear deformity and hearing loss is all about taking one situation at a time. I won't lie to you, there's going to be some bumps in the road, but as you adapt to the ever-changing situations, teachers, and new people, with each new challenge, you're going to gain strength and knowledge. Whatever your child's age or degree of hearing loss, it's important to realize they can and will be successful and lead normal lives. There's no magic formula for raising a child with microtia and atresia. However, you will succeed if you maintain a positive attitude, educate yourself, seek out the best surgeons and hearing solutions, and take an active role in their language and education. As I reflect back at the last 7 years and where our journey has taken us, I'd like to share some guiding principles that have helped us along the way. Number 1, stay positive. Tell your child how fortunate they are to live in a day and age where doctors and surgeons can reconstruct the ear or canal. Sarah can turn off her hearing. The other day, she flipped it off in the car because she didn't want to listen to my horrible music. How cool is that? Remember, positive attitude begins with you. Your attitude will be reflected to your child. If you're positive and have a positive approach, they're going to adopt that attitude too. If your approach is that it's a chore, that may delay their acceptance. Patience and perseverance. Patience is a process that'll take time on everyone's part. Perseverance refers to the hundreds of times a day they'll remove their device or you'll pull it out of their mouths as they're using it to teeth. Simply put it back on, smile, praise, and encourage. Once your child realizes that you will continually put it back on, they're going to give up, leave it alone, quickly realize the value, and embrace it. Preparation. It's our job as parents to prepare our children for the future. So we need to teach them to advocate for themselves. They need to know how to change and store their batteries. If they're in a situation where they can't hear, they either need to ask for clarification, sit, stand, or move where they can hear best. Make sure they can answer questions about their hearing loss processors and FM system. Practice so they're comfortable with their explanation. Sadly, not everyone's accepting, so we must teach them to stand up for themselves. Although it's important that our children know that questions that are not usually mean-spirited. Some people are just curious. If hurtful remarks are said, it's not about something that's wrong with them. Instead, it's the other person that's acting inappropriately. Equip your child with coping skills. They may feel ashamed and not want to tell you if someone's making unkind comments. Develop a plan to deal with these situations and how to respond when they're stung with insensitive remarks. Be in tune to clues. As they get older, it becomes more difficult prying things out of them. I ask Sarah every day when she comes home from school, how was her day? If your gut says something's happening, it probably is. And I'll tell you, your child's going to handle the situation a lot better than you will. Friends. Know your child's friends and stay connected and watch how they talk and play together. It's important to teach them the difference between friendly and unfriendly teasing. Tone of voice, body posture, facial expressions all come into play, and children with hearing loss sometimes have difficulty picking up on these clues. Sarah often asks me, what kind of voice is that? And it's usually an angry voice when she asks. So role play. School. Work with the school. Don't assume there's going to be a battle for equipment and services, but also don't expect them to be experts in bone conduction technology. I have found the hearing impaired department of our school to be very receptive to my suggestions because I save them a lot of work in troubleshooting. I know exactly what my child needs in every situation. Our children only get one chance to do well in school, so we as parents have to get them what they need to be successful. Because Sarah has an invisible disability and is such a high achiever, my greatest challenge is getting teachers to believe she's even hearing impaired. Sometimes they're shocked. Her science teacher actually asked me, "Oh, do you really think she needs her FM system?" Really? She does well and excels because she has the technology and backups. Set up teacher meetings and decide the best way for communication. Discuss the IEP, the technology used in the class, volunteer, go on field trips, encourage them to play sports and activities. It gives them more opportunity to meet friends. I won't read this whole thing, but I find great success with this. It's a parent card, and put whatever information you want your teacher to know on the card. You can also use this for camp or anytime your child's away. Teachers are very busy at the beginning of the year, and they have 20 and 30 kids to quickly get to know, so they're not going to remember everything about your child, but I promise they won't forget this. In fact, one teacher told me that whenever he sees something like this come across his desk, he knows these parents mean business, and I like that. Sarah's card says things like, my hearing devices don't fix my hearing any more than glasses fixes vision. And different things, repeat classroom directions, speak clearly, sit close. Sitting in the front isn't always best. She needs to sit where she can hear. She can't hear with regular headphones. She has her own technology. And she needs the FM system, non-negotiable. If the FM system isn't working properly, please notify my parents and they'll provide a backup. And for goodness sake, turn it off when you're discussing things I shouldn't hear. And finally, be sensitive to your child's feelings. We're all very proud of our child's reconstruction and hearing devices, but be selective in whom you tell. Ask yourself, how will this make my child feel? Do these people have a need to know? If the answer is yes, tell your child in advance that you're going to be talking about their ears and their hearing. It's very important that we as parents don't make them feel self-conscious or different. I told Sarah that at this conference, it's appropriate if somebody wants to see her ears or talk about her hearing devices, that's perfectly fine. And don't be surprised if she has you sign off on her community service if you ask her. She's got her little book with her. So just be sensitive, and I'll tell you the truth, this is something that we learned the hard way. I'm going to leave you with the words of Sarah at 9 years old expressing how she felt when Baba, that's father, kept running his mouth and showing her hearing devices and implants to every stranger he came in contact with.
Sarah, what's bothering you about when people talk about your ears?
Because I don't like when someone's running their mouth. Because I don't, and when the Baba met the stranger, and the Baba just run his mouth about me, what I did.
What? Like what? What are you talking about?
Like my ears and implants.
What? Particular?
Like this. And Baba always said, "Come here, Sarah, show the stranger about your implant and ears."
Well, aren't you proud of your ears and your implant?
I am, but I don't like someone say it.
Oh, okay. So what should we do in the future?
In future, I hope Baba's not going to say that anymore.
Thank you very much.